Well, thanks everyone for joining me. It's Matt Fodor here at Our Lady of Peace in Cleveland, Ohio. And as we prepare to kick off the 2025-2026 organ concert series, I'd like to give a warm welcome to our kickoff artist who will be performing here on Sunday, September 28th at 4 p.m. He's one of the most versatile, humble, and personable performers out there, traveling the world, bringing music old and new to so many people. It's my pleasure today to welcome Felix Hell.
Thank you so much, Matt. You're super kind for this very generous introduction. Thank you.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, thank you for spending the time with us. So, let's dive right in. Right, you are a great artist. You are all over social media, great social media presence with TikTok, with Instagram, of course, beautiful website. Um, but your YouTube channel, there's some really precious memories on there of you as a young budding musician. So give us some of the story about how you were drawn into the musical world at such a young age.
Mm-hmm. That's a great question because I come from an entirely non-musical family. My mom was a banker, my dad was an engineer, and I had nothing to do with music. And it really boiled down to an evening when my parents asked me if I would like to go attend an organ recital. And I had always associated the organ with funerals, weddings, church services, not the most fun things that you would think of if you were a kid. And so I was kind of reluctant, but then basically my parents and I made a deal and they said, well, let's go to this recital. If you don't like it, you'll never have to attend another recital in your life again. And uh, to put it mildly, it was a life-changing experience. I mean, to experience the organ when I first heard it, when I first felt it, it was unlike anything I'd ever experienced. And I felt such a sense of injustice that I had done to this instrument. Anyway, I was allowed to go upstairs onto the organ gallery and look at this console, and there it was with five manuals and stops and pedals and levers and buttons and everything else, and of course the pipes. And I just knew from that moment forward, this is something I have to learn how to play. And I basically twisted everyone's arm in my immediate vicinity and said, please teach me how to play the organ. And of course, I was 8 years old at the time, couldn't reach the fifth manual, couldn't reach the pedals, let alone all the stops that were off to the sides. But then finally, there was a local uh, uh, lady who occasionally played some of the services in a church in a neighboring village, and she finally agreed to give me some organ lessons. And that was really the beginning of the end. And I'd had some lessons with her for a few months, and then she passed me on to a professional teacher, and just things went step by step. And next thing I know, I'm coming to perform at Our Lady of Peace in Cleveland next week. So here I am. So really, all of this is to say, I view my job as to give experiences to people similar to the way that I had, to open people's eyes, open people's ears, open their hearts about an instrument that I think is so often misunderstood.
You're right. You hear the organ in church sometimes, and depending how things are, you know
Mhm.
what I mean.
Mhm.
But when you hear it done well, there's something that just emanates then from you. And I remember the first thought that I had about it was it's an orchestra in a box, right?
That's a great way to
Sometimes
put it.
sometimes a very large orchestra in a box.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's there's so many different layers, different sounds, different feelings that can be given to the listener. It's just such a
Mhm.
wide, colorful
Mhm.
palette.
I do want to connect on something very important that you said.
Hmm.
I think that, yes, there is this fascination with this massive instrument that is so colorful and so diverse, and that essentially is an entire building that you're performing in. But with my programs, and whenever I make music on the instrument, I make a deliberate effort not to get distracted by the instrument itself. I believe a really great program that captivates people starts with the lowest common denominator in the audience. I think if the person who has never experienced the organ, who has never heard a really great program, or doesn't even know how the sound is produced, if they are captivated, if they are interested, then I feel I have truly reached my goal of what I'm trying to do. Of course, we can perform for each other and revel in the wonderful things that this instrument has to offer. And I can admit it is a fascinating instrument. But really, my main audience are those people who are like me when I was 7 years old and first heard this instrument. This is my main goal. I want to reach those people first and foremost. Now, that doesn't mean that we play music that they necessarily recognized, but I think if you play music with soul and with conviction and with sincerity, I think anybody will feel it. So, just we'll talk about the program, I'm sure, in just a minute, but there's one piece on the program that I'll be playing in Cleveland that is played apparently or allegedly too often, which is my opening piece, the Toccata and Fugue in D minor. And in the last few years, I've really enjoyed playing that as my opening piece because it is fantastic music. I've played it a million times in my life, but we have to give it tribute for the power that this kind of music has. It was literally played in the first concert that I attended as a kid, and it is just a wonderful delivery device to just give people that first impression of what the organ is all about. So, yes, so the program and the relevance and the connectivity to the audience is the absolute most important thing. Now, going back to your question, yes, I have this wonderful tool, which is a touring organ, a digital organ, which is parked in Atlanta, Georgia, that I have used and really enjoy using for doing performances in places where there are no pipe organs. It's not an entirely new invention. Virgil Fox has done it. Some other organists have done it. But I think it is something that is well underutilized. And I think it's a wonderful tool to reach people in places where they normally would not encounter the pipe organ. And I think we have to face things the way they are and be honest with ourselves and recognize that I think there is a good portion of audiences that are a bit intimidated by the idea that the organ is so often located in churches. I think especially here in Europe, where you've got these massive cathedrals that are just, frankly, to some quite intimidating, and the organ is very far up in the gallery. So I think the more personal one can make it, the more one can present this beautiful instrument almost in the palm of your hands to the people right in front of you and say, hey, this is a musical instrument like any other that has the possibility to captivate audiences. I think the better chances we have of gaining new people who are interested in it.
Yeah, and with I'm a big proponent of technology, and obviously we've come a long way in terms of technology for digital organs.
Mhm.
I mean, we can sample and have things that, I mean, it's hard to tell the difference at times,
Yeah.
especially on a recording. And so that technology works out very well for you, not having to take cases and 3,000 pipes, right? Okay, we know that's not possible, but just putting it in context. But
Mhm.
like with the technology now, and I know we talked about this last year, is that it's honestly so simple now to have your cameras, to have your big screen in the front,
Mhm.
and drop a line. And for the organs that are in the loft, now we bring you downstairs to the people sitting in the pews. And I
Mhm.
can tell you, we have had such good results from the feedback that people are giving us.
Mhm.
Wow, I didn't know that much was going on while they're playing. Wow,
Yeah.
look at her feet. It
Yeah.
was a whole solo with the feet.
Right.
There's that outreach right there that I think you're talking about,
Absolutely.
about reaching that lowest common denominator.
Yeah.
Obviously, we have people that didn't realize this and they're amazed. And if you sit there and watch them, they are literally stuck to the screen, enthralled
Hmm.
at what they're seeing and
Hmm.
the talent and the years of work that goes into that to prepare that for you. So
Absolutely.
technology is a really great thing.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And there's one important differentiation that I want to make. While I am an organist and I love the instrument itself, it is not the instrument that I'm trying to promote. It is the experience it can deliver
Mm-hmm.
and the music that it can make. The organ essentially is only my medium. And
Mm-hmm.
let's face the truth that, we human beings, we are visual creatures. We may say, oh, we don't want to see the music. We just want to close our eyes and only experience the music in our hearts without any distraction. But
Mm-hmm.
look, we go to any other musical experience, whether it's a symphony concert, an opera, a rock concert, whatever. We want to see other human beings just pouring their heart and soul into what they're doing, and we want to be stirred. And I think to be able to visually follow what the musicians are doing just so adds to the experience. And I think those who want to close their eyes, by all means, are welcome to do that. But uh, but that visual connection, I think, is extremely important.
So, Felix, let's talk a little bit about what you have planned for us for your recital on Sunday, the 28th. And I think folks right on there, we've got Bach. And Felix, I know you are a great fan of Bach.
Yes, I can never get enough of it. I won't reveal the entire program to you, but I will talk about just a couple of pieces that will be on the program. Um, my opening piece, as I mentioned before, will be Toccata and Fugue in D minor. And not because it is overplayed, but in my opinion, because I think it is underplayed. I think it is a piece that has the reputation of being played too often. But And I used to feel the same way. But once I began starting to reconsider the piece, to reinvent the piece for myself, I've noticed again just how unbelievably fresh it is and how exciting it is. And I'm perfectly willing to take the risk of uh, encountering the displeasure of some organists who may have heard or played Toccata and Fugue in D minor throughout their lifetime too often, at the benefit of giving this amazing experience to those who have not. So that will be my opening piece. We are going to hear some Ad Vames, who is a Dutch composer, contemporary composer who writes very beautifully for the organ. It's a minimalist piece. We get to hear some of the more tiny facets of the organ, and it almost sounds like video game music. It's very exciting. And then another big section in the program is actually the ending. I like to call it my Charles-Marie Widor Sonata. I love the music of Widor, and I would love to play a whole symphony whenever I can, but it isn't always possible because the moment you program a Widor symphony, it's 40 minutes of your program, and there won't be much time left for anything else. So what I'm doing to close the program off is I'm taking three movements from three different symphonies. So I'm closing the program with a sonata with Vidor 6 first movement, Vidor 9 second movement, and then finally Vidor 5 fifth movement, the toccata. And I think that makes a beautiful little section to offer some French music and just hear some different colors and just hear the essence of what it's like to be in those Parisian cathedrals. And yeah, so those are just a couple of pieces that I'll be playing. There will be a little bit of Virgil Fox and Bach mixture. I think some of you might imagine what that might be, but I won't reveal too much. And there will be some surprises.
Well, I know we're definitely looking forward to that. And I also, it just gives me a chance to be downstairs to hear uh, all different organists. It's so nice with the experience, right? I mean, we can
Mm.
hit the recorder, and go downstairs, but to listen to yourself, but it's just to be able to have so many different organists in. I mean, I can't tell you, I'm a little selfish, it's a treat, like
It
it's
must
amazing.
feel like a different instrument every time a new person comes into play.
Oh, it is, because you're not criticizing yourself, right? And listening back for balance and color and everything. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's just wonderful. I mean, it really is. It really is.
Yeah.
So I
Oh.
can't wait to listen to your practice sessions.
And I cannot wait to see the instrument. You've mentioned
Amazing.
so many wonderful things about it, and it seems to be quite the installation in Ohio, so or in Cleveland. So I'm excited about it. And I've always enjoyed playing Schanz organ, so I have high expectations.
What's your opinion? Have you seen a change in classical music and organ culture throughout those different stages, from being a
Mm,
young child to the teen to
mm,
college and post grad and now into adulthood? Like what have
mm,
you seen?
Ooh, thank you for asking that. Yes. Let me summarize it like this. I believe that the level of musicianship among organists today is higher than it has ever been in recorded history as we can follow.
Mhm.
As long as there have been audio recordings of organists, I think we are today in the absolute peak of musicianship, of the balance between historically informed performance, but also emotionally relevant performances for a common listener. I think we're absolutely moving in the right direction. And the young musicians that we hear today, that are learning the organ, that are on a national or international stage, are just so unbelievably inspiring in terms of how they make music. I believe we are absolutely in the verge, if not in the middle of a renaissance for the organ. So my hopes are extremely high, and I find it unbelievably exciting to somehow be part of this movement. And I'm curious to see what will happen in the future. Why that is, I cannot quite tell. I think to a large degree, the increase in quality is due to the internet and the availability of records, the availability of recordings, and also to be able to connect with your peers all across the planet. I think that is elevating the level of musicianship and just the awareness of what is out there, who is out there, how people are making music, and that is causing this unbelievable explosion of musicianship. And I think the right people are being discovered. I think the right people are connecting with audiences. And those are the ones who have the full package. They know how to make great music. They are personable. They have a great connection and they make the instrument and the music relevant and accessible. And so I have high, high hopes for the future.
Well, that's a really interesting response, because I'll tell you, I think it really begins when we're young, right? And I'm gonna finish us out here with just an interesting little story about how we ended up bringing you here to Our Lady of Peace. So,
Okay.
um, I remember seeing all of a sudden, last September, the concert series in Pittsburgh, and said, Organist Felix Helen. And I'm like, gosh, I love his recordings, everything. And I'm like, okay, we're gonna drive down, go down there to Pittsburgh. I think it was pouring rain the entire time, front and back. The turnpike, awful, right? Anybody who drives the turnpike in that area knows this. So we're there at the beginning, and John Tillian, who's one of the co-directors of the Organist series in Pittsburgh, a series which has been around for a good number of decades.
Mhm.
John and I actually grew up together. He's a couple of years behind me,
Mhm.
and I kind of got him into the organ at church. I was studying with Dr. Ray Ocock at the time, and John ended up studying with Dr. Ocock as well. And so last September, when John introduced the kickoff to their series, he talked about when he was younger and studying with Dr. Ocock, and he brought him down to Pittsburgh to see this young budding organist. And then John said, and that organist was Felix Hell. I'm sitting
That's
there in the
great.
pew chuckling, and I'm like, are you kidding me? Oh my gosh, I remember this conversation. And John was telling me that, oh, you missed a great concert and everything. I think I was working at church at the time. Um, I'm like, it is an absolutely small world. And now here is John, how many years later, introducing you as the kickoff to their concert series.
Mm.
And it was just like the world is coming together.
Mm.
And then I kept hearing in my head, it's a small world after all. It's a small world after all. Literally, I can't make this up, right?
Oh my goodness.
Maybe you could do an improvisation of that as an encore.
Let me see what I
I'm
can do.
joking, but we'd have a little problem with Disney there, I bet. But it's a small world, right?
Yeah,
It's a big world,
indeed.
but it's small.
You're
Um,
absolutely right.
but
Yeah.
look what it did for John. I
Yeah,
guarantee you
yeah.
that was a real good moment for him when he was younger, seeing what you were doing.
I think John and I, even though I think I'm a couple of years older than him, but I think we were still, both of us were teenagers. Yes, it is a small world, and the more important it is that every action we take, whether it's at the instrument or off the instrument, it absolutely matters because we don't know what influence we may or may not have. Trust me, there are many days where I wonder, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? And I think that everybody in their own profession, they have days where they wonder what the purpose of it all is. And it's these stories that you mentioned where you realize this was in some way meaningful to another person, and it so makes it worth it. And I think that's it's the some of the essence of what art really should be is we put it out there with no knowledge or expectation of what it will return or what it will generate. So in a sense, it's a very selfless act, and it takes a lot of trust to just say, hey, you know what? Trust the process, do it, do the best you can, pour your heart and soul into it. You have no idea what good may come from it, and nothing good may come from it, but the risk is still worth taking.
So, with that being said, how much do you love this life?
I cannot believe I cannot believe what I'm doing. I cannot believe that this is actually what I get to do. To play this instrument, to learn this music, um, to spend time with not the composers themselves, but to have the ability to get a tiny little grasp of these masterworks that have outlived centuries, and to be able to somehow breathe life into them and to also do that for a living. I think I won the lottery. That's how I feel. I'm feeling unbelievably grateful for this opportunity. And so whenever I perform, it means a lot to me to connect with the audiences also on a personal level, whether it's before the recital or after the recital, just to also get a sense of, how's everyone doing? How did it go? How's everyone feeling? And sometimes you'll have audiences that are more reserved, and sometimes you'll have audiences that will just come and just embrace you. So it's one of the greatest feelings to perform and to witness that and to meet all these people along the way. And I'm realizing I'm ranting a little bit, but truly the bottom line is I can't believe that this is my life. I feel unbelievably grateful.
Well, that's amazing. So, folks, as I said, very talented, humble, personable person and musician. So, join us here at Our Lady of Peace in Cleveland, Ohio. We have a masterclass with a local organist that'll be at 7 o'clock on Friday night, the 26th. And the concert is Sunday, September 28th at 4 p.m. You can get your tickets by visiting our website, www.olpchurch.com. There's a suggested ticket donation of $20 per ticket. However, parishioners at Our Lady of Peace, youth under 18 years of age, and students with valid ID, you'll be able to get that ticket at no charge. So again, visit us at our website, www.olpchurch.com. Give us a call at 216-421-4211, extension 4. And we look forward, Felix, to welcoming you here to Cleveland and hearing everything that you have prepared to us. So once again, thank you for your time today.
I can hardly wait. Thanks for the invitation. I'll see you in Cleveland.